TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations.
Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israeli special forces successfully rescued 2 Israeli hostages from Hamas captivity from the town of Rafah. Residents of northern Israel voiced deep frustration over Hezbollah's continued attacks and call on Jerusalem to declare war on Lebanon. Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian, while visiting both Beirut and Damascus, leveled threats toward Jerusalem's leadership. The Israel security agency Shin Bet, Israel Border Police Yamam special operators alongside IDF naval commandos of the Shed 13 unit and the 7th Armored Brigade of Division 98 conducted a daring raid deep into the town of Rafah, which is the last remaining bastion of Hamas control, at the culmination of which 2 Israeli hostages were successfully rescued.
Tonight we brought Luis and Fernando back home. In a joint rescue operation by the IDF, the Israel Security Services and the Yamam, the special unit of the Israel Border Police, we rescued Luis Har and Fernando Marman, who were kidnapped by Hamas on the 7th of October from Nir Yitzhak.
Admiral Hagari continued by detailing the highly complex operation which caught the Islamist Hamas by surprise, and according to the Islamist group, included the elimination of over 70 terror operatives. In contrast, only 1 Israeli special operator sustained light injuries.
This was a complex rescue operation, under fire in the heart of Rafah, based on very sensitive and high-quality intelligence from the Intelligence Directorate and the Israel Security Service. The Shin Bet's operational unit, the Border Police Yamam unit, the Southern Command together with forces of the 98th Division, the Sheyatet 13th unit, the 7th Brigade of the Armor, in a professional and precise action. There was an aerial umbrella that was accompanied by a wave of strikes by the Air Force together with Southern Command. This is an operation that we have been preparing for some time, and we were waiting for the necessary conditions to carry it out. Early in the morning, at 1:49, the Special Forces broke into a building in the heart of Rafah. There, on the 2nd floor, Luis and Fernando were held by armed Hamas terrorists who were in the building, and terrorists who were situated in neighboring buildings. From the moment the blazing entry into the apartment, the Yamam special operators hugged and protected Luis and Fernando with their bodies, and a daring battle and heavy exchange of fire began, in several locations at the same time, with many terrorists. As early as 1:50, an aerial umbrella of fire was activated, which operated by the Air Force and Southern Command, to allow the force to disengage and hit the Hamas terrorists in the area. At this point, the fighters extricated Luis and Fernando out of the apartment and rescued them under fire, accompanied by IDF forces who give them protection in the area until they reach the safe zone.
Following preliminary medical treatment that was administered to both of these rescued Israeli hostages in the field, they were airlifted to Sheba Medical Center in central Israel, where 70-year-old Luis Har and 60-year-old Simon Marman were finally reunited with their families.
I'm very happy to announce that this night, 2 released hostages landed here at Sheba Medical Center, Israel's largest hospital. They were received in our ER, and initial examination were conducted by our ER staff, and they are in a stable condition, and we intend to continue and follow them up for the coming days until we'll be for sure clear of their medical situation. To see them joining with their families, with their loved one. For months, I haven't seen them. Remember, they are there is a 70-year-old person there and a 60-year-old person. They are not young. These are the people who were kidnapped from Israel today, and kids who are still hostages at Gaza Strip. We are hoping, we are praying, and we want everyone to return to their homeland, to Israel. These people did nothing. They are purely civilians, and they are here, they were kidnapped. So now we are very happy to see them return to us.
Prior to the extraction of the 2 Israeli hostages from Gaza, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, alongside his government ministers, toured the base of the Special Engineering Forces of Yalom Unit, where they received a briefing from IDF Chief of General Staff Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi and other commanders regarding the latest developments in the Gaza Strip.
First, I would like to thank the Chief of Staff and the commanders also for the presentation, which is mainly about the achievements which are impressive by any international standard. The achievements of the IDF are very impressive. We are on the way to victory. It will take time, as it has been said correctly. But, contrary to what is being said, it will not take years. It is within reach. It is a difficult battle, but one we are winning.
Netanyahu went on to articulate Jerusalem's intentions for the day after the war in the Gaza Strip.
We want, in effect, to bring about the demilitarization of the Gaza Strip. This requires our security control and our comprehensive security responsibility over all territory west of the Jordan River, including the Gaza Strip. There is no alternative to this in the foreseeable future. We are also saying this to the international community and to the President of the United States and to all leaders. There is no alternative to this. This is to say, security control will always be ours, and if this requires a presence inside, then there will be a presence inside. If it requires that we be able to go in anywhere, as the IDF is capable of going anywhere, at any time, this will be said here, and this will also be the case in the future.
The Israeli premier went on to reassert Israel's resolve vis-à-vis achieving Jerusalem's objectives for the war, while emphasizing the imperative requirement of maintaining national unity in this effort.
This requires maximum internal unity. I hope that we will succeed in preserving this. The goal is no less than the victory we have been discussing. It is within reach. It requires that we also withstand the increasing pressure. I must tell you the truth, they are increasing, and each one of you who comes into contact with foreign elements can tell about this, each one in his or her own way. But the most important thing is to adhere and cling to the goal, and the goal is victory. Not a half victory, not a three-quarters victory, but victory over all of Hamas. I believe that with God's help, and with our united forces, we can achieve this.
While victory may well be within reach in the Gaza Strip, hostilities in northern Israel along the front with Lebanon continues to pose a true challenge, with daily cross-border fire threatening civilian communities and strategic assets alike. And while between 61 to 100,000 Israelis internally displaced from border communities, Israeli residents who remain in their towns, which are nonetheless subject to repeated attacks, are clearly losing patience.
The situation is difficult. It's difficult for us out of town. They should decide an agreement or a war to allow residents back already. 4 months is too much, too much. We were never out of town like this under a normal government. The atmosphere is quiet. There are no people around. What can I tell you? Such a thing never happened. It's depressing not to see people in their usual places. Such a beautiful city. Residents of Kiryat Shmona will not return home, as the mayor also said. We will not return home. We want a normal life like there is in every other place. Such a situation can't be. Southern Lebanon should be flattened, without a doubt. Or we should leave this place. We can't go on this way.
While the Iranian proxy Hezbollah continues to launch daily attacks against Israeli communities, the IDF conducts daily retaliatory strikes against Hezbollah infrastructure and terror cells operating at the behest of the Ayatollah regime in Tehran against Israel. Meanwhile, in Beirut, the Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian met with Lebanon's technocratic government to during the course of which Tehran's top diplomat seized the opportunity to acknowledge that the United States urged Iran to contain its Lebanese proxy Hezbollah from escalating war on Israel's northern front.
In the past 4 months, during this war, there was an exchange of messages between Iran and America. One of the things stated in the messages asked Iran what Iran's demand are for Hezbollah not to get widely, fully involved in this war against Israel.
Minister Amir-Abdollahian went on to note, irrespective of Hezbollah's continued attacks against Israel, that any full-scale retaliatory war by Israel and Lebanon would include the targeted killing of Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Any step that the Zionist regime takes towards a widespread attack on Lebanon will be Netanyahu's last day and ends the status quo in the region.
After visiting Beirut, Tehran's top diplomat traveled to Damascus, where he met with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, as well as his Syrian counterpart Faisal Mikdad, respectively. Subsequently, during a press conference, Damascus's top diplomat reiterated his country's aspiration to reconquer the Israeli Golan Heights while ousting the United States and Turkey from Syrian soil. In parallel, Tehran's top diplomat, for his part, reiterated Iran's pledge to take revenge against Israel for all of the Iranian operatives who were killed while trying to prepare the ground in Syria for an all-out war against Israel.
I assure you that ending the Israeli occupation on Syrian Arab Golan is the first mission that the Syrian people seek to achieve. Also, the departure of the U.S. troops from eastern Syria and of Turkey from the north. All this aggression towards our country, the unlawful attacks by Israel, Turkey, and U.S. on our country, and this occupation should resist in Syria is ready to pay its liberation tax. We pay tribute to the soul of our military advisors, Iranian martyrs who were killed during the Israeli aggressions on Syria, including martyred Sayyid Razi Mousavi. I emphasize that this Israeli aggression in the region will not remain unanswered.
It is important to highlight that since 2015, Iran has ratcheted up efforts to entrench militarily in Syria, similar to its successful activities in Lebanon, Iraq, and Yemen. Nevertheless, Israeli resolve as part of the so-called campaign between the wars, which included hundreds of aerial strikes attributed to the Israeli Air Force, essentially thwarted Iran's aspirations to date. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. It is important to highlight that TV7 Israel is a donation-based, non-profit ministry with all of our productions available free of charge. Therefore, if you're blessed by our daily updates and would like to help us bear the costs, please consider making a donation. You can do so by visiting our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Separately, I'd like to encourage you to pray for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hassan, wishing you a Shavua Mevorach, and God willing, we'll see you during our upcoming TV7 Israel updates. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.